Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what you were expecting on this morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever the hell I decide to release it. It's your boys, Respass and Walton, an Apron Work podcast. It's so bad, I forget how to do the intro, because I don't even know what it is. All I know most...
It's so close.
It was close.
It's okay.
What episode are we on, Respass? Because...
61.
61. 8 more to the big number. 8 more to the big number.
We got stuck on 60 there for a little while.
We did. How are you doing, Respass? This is the Respass episode, if we're being honest.
Oh, this is.
So we're back. We've been busy, mostly probably me out of the two of us that have been way too busy.
No, I've been busy too, just in a completely different way. That's
true.
What this episode's about.
Well, that part, but I just haven't had any free time to actually be able to sit down and record.
No. Yeah.
I know. So, essentially, last week was a very big week in wrestling, and especially because Mr. Respass here went to a lot of the wrestling shows that were local to us. Well, not local, but one was in D.C.
I guess it's more local than the other shows.
Yeah, probably. One was in D.C.
Yes.
And I even have a little wrestling story to tell from my, because I was just on vacation a little bit, so I have a wrestling story from there.
And you sent me the picture, and I know what you're talking about, but I actually thought it was completely I thought you were joking when you said it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you wore a Young Buck shirt in the one picture, and
yes.
I thought that was your wrestling story, like somebody
said. I actually kept bringing it up as a wrestling story. So yeah. This is just basically going to be a week in review, essentially, of what we've done wrestling-related this past week, because Respass is more interesting than mine. So my two stories real fast. I'll start them off just because you're going to take a lot longer, and I'm more intrigued than your stories.
I actually bought a bunch of wrestling stuff.
Oh, really?
So I have wrestling stuff delivered that I didn't even tell you about.
Oh, I am excited.
Yeah.
So my first story, I was down in Florida over the last week, and I went to Hogan's Beach Shop. Don't go there. It's literally an old 7-Eleven. It's a bunch of chintzy merchandise, like nothing crazy. Like you can get Mike on a keychain that says Hogan's Beach Shop.
I thought, when you said old 7-Eleven, I thought you went in there and there was a bunch of old crusty hot dogs in it.
There probably was somewhere. It wasn't like terrible, but it was just so like gimmicky, and like it sold a bunch of wrestling merchandise, like not like cool stuff. Like it sold a bunch of Hogan shirts. And
you expected Hogan to have anything cool in his shop?
I expected Hulk Hogan to be behind the counter asking me what I wanted, if I wanted paper or plastic, brother.
That thing's probably been there since the WCW days, and the merchandise is probably the same.
Yeah, it was not interesting. I walked in, I was in there less than 5 minutes. Walked around the store, but I was just like, we had time to kill, so I was just like, hey, can we swing by here real fast? Sure. And I'm like, I regret walking by there.
You got a picture of the outside of it. That was pretty
cool.
That
was about it. I'm honestly surprised I didn't get harassed or something saying, hey, no pictures.
That'd be $5.
Yes. The only other wrestling story was I have and it's one of my favorite shirts. It's a Young Bucks shirt, but it's in the wording of Star Wars, and it says the Young Bucks, the Super Kick Awakens. And it was right when Force Awakens came out that I bought the shirt, and I had brought it down with me on my vacation. So very last minute, I found out I was going to be able to go to Star Wars Land Galaxy's Edge in Disney World Hollywood Studios. So I had 2 Star Wars shirts with me in theory. I had an actual one and then the Young Bucks one. Well, I already wore the other one, so had to wear my Young Bucks Star Wars shirt into Star Wars Land. I looked so cool in there.
I was going to give you credit for making the right choice, and then you just said you wore the other one. So
I had already worn the other one earlier in the week.
Yeah. So I was going to give you credit for making the right choice.
Well, I did make the right choice.
Now you're just saying you wore it by default. So
well, because it was my last Star Wars shirt. I brought 2 Star Wars shirts down with me in case I somehow managed to get there.
Nah, okay.
So, this isn't the type of podcast for it, but Galaxy's Edge is incredible. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I cried 1,000,000 times in there. It was impactful.
I don't want to get into it because it might anger some people. I'm not going to talk negatively about it. My response is going to be, I don't know that I've ever seen a full Star Wars movie.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to Apron Work Podcast. This is going to be our last episode ever. Man, fuck off. Fuck you. Man.
I'm not talking negative about it.
You had a negative.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of a lot of them. I've never sat down and watched them.
You would enjoy the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run. It was a fun ride.
The only thing I know is Star Tours got me sick every time we went on it when I went a couple years ago.
The Millennium,
because of my I'm assuming, I don't know if it has anything to do with my seizures, but staring at that screen and the movement and stuff, it got me very sweaty and sick every time I went on it. So
no, it's the same way I feel when I look at you. Gets me very sweaty.
Yeah.
Not the sick part, but
yeah.
So that's my wrestling week. That was my 2 wrestling-related things in a week. That New Japan was in Philadelphia, NXT's first 2-hour episode on USA Network, AEW's premiere, Hell in a Cell, SmackDown on Fox.
Oh, I watched that too.
Oh, you watched that too?
And I watched the whole thing.
Ooh.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
I didn't just skip through.
Yeah, I was in Galaxy Edge that night. Bigger
So
priority.
you've seen none of this.
I
know we kind of discussed a little bit because we haven't seen or talked to each other in a little while.
So I was on vacation the whole week. I was on vacation the whole week. I followed wrestling a little bit. Like the only time I would follow it is if I would wake up in the morning, and I just had time by myself. I was on a cruise ship, and we on the balcony of the cruise ship watching the water. I'd have my phone out. We had Wi-Fi there, so I could I just jump on Reddit and see, post-show results, the streamables of what stuff happened, things like that, if it would load and if it mattered to me. So I saw some of it. I saw vaguely what was going on, but I don't know exactly what happened from basically Monday Night Raw with the new set. I didn't see that. I didn't watch any NXT, but I did see the things of Balor coming out, Ciampa returning. AEW, I saw some of the highlights there, but nothing really crazy. I saw Hager debut. I didn't watch any of the matches. I heard Guevara versus Cody was actually really good. What the hell else did I see? And then I saw, that was about it. I saw before Wednesday that Tito and Santana, or no, Ortiz and Santana, is that LAX?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That they were announced as the partner. What else did I see? And then I saw some of the Fox stuff. I saw Cain Velasquez come out. Right. This was after the fact. Wasn't there something else that major happened on Fox? I mean, there's the Tyson Fury thing, which I don't know.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there something else that happened like to open the show?
The Rock?
Oh yeah, The Rock, that's right. I forgot he was there. And then I saw some of the Hell in the Cell stuff. I heard the ending to Hell in the Cell was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. They said I'll get through my stuff.
So
I'll get through my reactions of all WWE related since I wasn't there, but I actually did see everything this week. And when I say everything, I mean every. So I actually just got done watching Raw, like yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't even watch that. So
no, that was actually this week's Raw. I didn't watch last week's Raw. There you go. See, that's how jumbled I am. It was this week's Raw I just watched.
So the reason why I'm bringing that up is, Mike, you had an interesting week. What?
I did.
This isn't just a thing of like, oh, what wrestling did I didn't watch but you watched type of thing. What did you get to go to this week? So what were you live in person for?
Okay. Well, let's start it off with, I was at the old ECW Arena to see New Japan.
For
their Fighting Spirit Unleashed show. I mean, it was. I was upset with it.
I was upset about it with too because I saw something come across before I saw it happening that got me very upset, and Okada wasn't there.
Yeah. So apparently, now I don't know if you really know him, but I have a friend that also watches wrestling that told me a while ago he got tickets to this. So we were kind of going back and forth talking about possibly meeting up before the show, stuff like that. So I actually found out that Okada wasn't going to be there, I want to say a couple days before. And I messaged him, and he said, yeah, they announced that from the beginning, that he was only going to be in Boston and New York. And I was like, well, that's great. Literally one of the reasons I was so excited for it.
It wasn't announced from the beginning.
Well, he said it was announced a while ago.
It was announced early on, yeah. But it wasn't like when you guys bought those tickets. No,
I think it was announced after we bought
actually, he was never announced actually for the Philadelphia show. When you guys first bought the tickets, they didn't have any announcements of who was going to show up.
Yeah, so that's what I thought.
So that's what it was. So technically,
yeah. He didn't say I bought I think he's just saying like it's been announced, basically. So I was. It's not like I was going to go sell them or be like I'm not going now. It just got me a little less excited for it. So I already kind of went in a little iffy on it.
Was Jay White there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love Jay White. So there were 7 matches on the card. And it was a pretty interesting card. I mean, there's 4 singles matches and 3 tags, which is from the very little I've seen of New Japan, that's relatively normal. They try to get all their guys in all these crazy tag matches. But I'll go kind of back to my experience at the show and say it was too fucking short.
Really?
Way too short.
What time did it start?
I paid $70 for obstructed view tickets for a 2-hour show.
You paid $70
Started at 5
per ticket?
It was $70. We were near the entrance ramp, and I had a pole in my view.
Oh, man.
I don't even care that I said how much I spent. I spent more money on these tickets than I did for AEW.
Ooh.
And I didn't get the cheapest seats at AEW.
Oh, I'm glad I did not go. Oh, I am so glad.
Yeah. So I went in upset about Okada. We got there. They said doors opened at when the show started at 5.
How many of you went? Can you say who you went with or?
Oh yeah, I went with Jer, who has been on the podcast from Opie and Friends, and his brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was just the 3 of us, and you've been to House of Hardcore shows there, and anybody out there who's been to Old ECW Arena now
2300 Arena. If you don't know it as that, that's
2300 Arena. But most people know. If you don't know the arena, Old ECW Arena is the better way to go. So you've been there to House of Hardcore. You know how crammed the seats can kind of be. They're fold-up chairs. Yeah. How they can be kind of crammed. Now, they crammed more in for this.
Okay.
So now, me, Jared's brother, are not small guys by any means. So now, we couldn't get 3 seats together on the cheaper seats, which is why we had $70 obstructed view, because when I tried to get tickets that day, the only way I can get 3 together was by those seats. So, we're running a little late. Surprise, surprise, because I drove with Jared, and I'm always late to everything. And Jared wanted to get in there ahead of time because he wanted to buy stuff or get autographs or whatever.
I was going to say, did they do the meet and greet?
I don't know if they did a meet and greet. We got there thinking people are going to be walking in, and they didn't open the doors yet. So they opened the doors maybe 15 minutes late. Cause there was a line all the way around.
They knew you were coming, so
yeah, they knew we were running late, so they waited for us. So we get in there, and I always just want to sit down. I'm not a huge like stand in line crowd person, but Jared wanted to stand in line, so me and Jared's brother kind of stood up to the side. They had a lot of stuff there. I I didn't really see a whole lot of it. Jer said he's not going to buy anything, just look, and then came back with a shirt, and then almost bought a DVD in typical Jer fashion. So he had a Stone Pitbull shirt on for Ishii, and we go in around where they're selling like the beers off to the side, and there was, I can't remember the other two that were there, but Ishii was standing right there with no line, no nothing. So it was pretty cool. He got to go up, pay $20, get a picture with them.
I saw the
that part was pretty cool.
I saw the picture, and so not only that, Jer has a Stone Pitbull tattoo. And yeah, he was like, I wish I had something to sign, and he was trying to find something to sign, and then someone had brought up on Instagram that, oh, you should have got your tattoo signed and got it tattooed, and he said didn't even think about it. Oh,
he said
man.
I should have. So Sonata was on one side of him. You know me, I had to talk myself into the Matt Hardy thing, and I was drunk when we went to go stand in line for Matt Hardy,
and that was
WrestleMania in Dallas.
Yeah, and that was $10 a picture, and we actually got. I remember when they got confused because we wanted to try to do one picture with each.
one each, and then one with both of us.
And we were like, oh no, we'll pay for that third one. They're like, oh okay, no problem.
Yeah, they thought we were just trying to pay. $20, but Sonata was there, and I really like Sonata, but like one person went up to take a picture, and I was like, because I'm not that type of person, and I regretted it afterwards. I should have. So we get to our seats, we sit down. I talk Jer's brother into let me sit in between them because I get uncomfortable, and I'm thinking I could say, hey, I'm shorter than you guys, I can fit in. So we're sitting uncomfortably. There's a big pole right in the middle. We're sitting at the turnbuckle, the corner, and there's a pole in our way. So now all of us have different views. They're both taller than me. They can kind of stretch their heads around. I'm sitting dead center. And the pole is not blocking the turnbuckle. The pole is conveniently to the left of the turnbuckle.
What kind of
so
pole
now
is
I have
it?
a pole.
What?
There's the four pole. I don't know if you. There's the four poles holding the building up or whatever.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
and you know, House of Hardcore, they don't really have seats in those areas.
No, they don't. Yeah,
but here to squeeze seats in, they did.
Okay.
So now I have a turnbuckle blocking my view. On a corner view, I have a turnbuckle blocking my view, and then I have the pole blocking my view. Jer can look off to the one side. Jer's brother has the pole blocking the turnbuckle. I have a double blocked view and plenty of pictures to prove how blocked it was. So we sit down and we're just like laughing, like we paid $70 for these seats and we can't see a lot of the ring. And you never realize how much a match is put in the middle of a ring until you sit at a corner that's obstructed by something.
That sounds
to realize how much of a match has to be in the mid-center of the ring. So we're right there by the entrance ramp. That was cool. Got to see people walk down relatively close to us. That part was cool. The matches were good. I got to see a lot of people I would have never seen in person, probably never will again. So that part was really cool. Unfortunately, the Okada announcement and the seats rubbed me the wrong way from the beginning. So I got to see Rocky Romero wrestle the first match. He won. It was a bunch of their dojo. Yeah, a bunch of those guys in matches with other people. So it was Mikey Nichols, Nick Miller.
Oh, okay.
Was in the second match. Lance Archer was in the third match, which I love Lance Archer, and Jer hates him. So I'm sitting there giving him shit the whole time. I love how Lance Archer works the crowd. I don't love him as a wrestler, but I love him as a performer, if that makes sense.
No, that
dude, he's so good. He's so good. That match in the G1.
That literally describes why you like The Miz.
Yes.
That's nothing against The Miz.
Yeah.
Miz is amazing, but he's a performer. He's not a wrestler.
Right. Yeah. So the next match was Amazing Red. That was a good match. So now we're 4 matches in, right? 20-minute limit.
Was Ospreay
Archer's
there?
match might even be the longest one. No, Ospreay wasn't there.
I'm getting really glad. I'm glad I didn't go.
So now we're 7 match card, right? We're 4 matches in, and they've run relatively quick. there's a 30-minute limit on the next two matches, and then a no time limit on the last. So me and Jared talking like, wow, they're already heading into the tag matches. We expected maybe a small intermission. When New Japan, and I don't know if this holds true to Boston, New York, but they put no time between their matches. Literally, when the winner walks through that curtain, there was an image for the next match, and then within 30 seconds, the first guy's music was playing. Like, there was no break. I'd almost wish there was a little break in between the matches, and I get an extra half an hour on the card. Like, I literally had a fantasy hockey draft at 8:30 that I told them I couldn't make. That I would have to put players in a queue and just let it go auto draft, because there's no way in hell I'm making it home for this. I went to McDonald's and still made it home for it at 8:30 for a 5 o'clock show. And I didn't drive there myself.
Oh.
Yes. So now they're running through the card. We get to, it's Sho, Yo, and Juice Robinson against Shingo, Sonata, and Nato. So that was an awesome match. I love Sonata. It was a fun match. I'm not a big Juice Robinson fan. I know why a lot of people are. I'm not. So I was happy to see them lose. But it was a fun match. Thankfully, I think they were very cognizant of people being screwed in those corners, because we had the bad guy corner, the heel corner, whatever way you want to look at it. I'm assuming Juice, Sho, and Yo were the good guys in the match. We had kind of the heel corner, and Nato kind of laid on the apron a lot. Sonata didn't even stand up on the apron. He stood in the side. You could tell they knew they were blocking people's view. And
wow,
it was. I said it to Jared. I said, this is going to be awful for a tag match, but they did everything they possibly could to not stay up on the apron, which I thought was that one. I was also with that match especially. They were very cognizant of, we're blocking people's view. Let's try to do everything we can to not stand in their way. So that was a fun match. Got to see a lot of their act and their finishers, moves, everything. So then we get to the next match, and by this point, might be 6 o'clock, a little after 6. There's 2 matches left.
Ooh.
I remember looking at the time and being like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, what's going on? Is that no time limit match going to be over an hour? Me and Jericho kept saying it has to be over an hour. It has to. There's no way. Like, are they going to do an intermission between the 6th and the 7th? I was just so confused. Like, why this is running so quick. So now we get TJP, who got booed out the fucking building. And I never looked up exactly why. We were kind of confused. I don't know what I missed that he's so hated. But my God. And they put him with Ibushi.
Oh, wow.
And he got booed out the fucking place. It was against Bushi and Evil. Which we were confused why Sonata and Evil were not on a team. Why Bushi and Evil was. The only thing we could think of is because Bushi's a little bit more of the flyer. And maybe with him and TJP. That was the only thing. But like... So it was a confusing match. Like, the match was confusing to us because it wasn't Evil and Sonata. But TJP got booed out the fucking building, and Ibushi couldn't save him.
Wait, was Tanahashi there?
That would be the last match.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were on the last match. My apologies.
No. This was the next to last. So TJP, they put this in between the 2 best matches of the night. And TJP just got fucking booed to hell. And if I remember right, I think Evil and Bushi won. That match was kind of forgettable for me. It wasn't all that. But a lot of what they did was in the middle of the ring. I got to see a lot more of the tag match before because they did stuff on the outside. This was a little bit more I didn't get to see. And the big spots were jumping off the apron opposite of where we were sitting. So I really couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So this match was a little forgettable.
Did they have general admission, like standing room only tickets, or was it all seats?
Yeah, they had standing room only. But I wanted to go stand with them because I said that at one point. I said, let's go stand back there. We could see the matches better. So now you get to the main event. It's an elimination match. 6-on-6. We got the Rock and Roll Express. Yes, that Rock and Roll Express, not a team called it. The actual 80-year-old Rock and Roll Express. Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton. Which I didn't fucking know they were supposed to be there. Even when I seen the card, I did not realize it was old-ass Rock and Roll Express. So, them two, Yoshihashi, Ishii, Goto, and Tanahashi, all one team, against the Bullet Club. So it was Gaito, Chase Owens, Tangaloa, Tamatanga, Kenta, and Jay White. So this is what I was looking forward to. You know, most of the guys I want to see was in this match. I love me some Jay White. I love Jay White. Love him. I love heel Kenta.
I like that. I haven't really seen much of heel Kenta.
So good.
But
I didn't even know he was a part of Bullet Club until like that right there like spoiled it for me. Not that I was going to go back and watch it, but
yeah, he turned
I don't even know if you knew.
He turned on he turned on Sabata.
Yeah. So I remember we tried to watch the G1 and I didn't get to yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot if that happened before or after this.
So now we get to the point that it's maybe 6:30. And it was 6 I forget what time it was. I remember looking at it and like doing the math, and this no time limit match was about 20 minutes long. Like you would think that it was going to be long, and it wasn't.
Oh, that's terrible.
So like the entrances might have been just as long. So it was cool seeing the Rock and Roll Express. You know, I took a video of it, sent it to my dad, say, hey, look who we're watching. Again, Bullet Club was on our side. They seemed very cognizant of the fact that they were blocking people's view. Only a couple guys really stood up on the ring while the rest kind of, you know, they doing a lot of let's go around and pull their guys down and wrestle on the outside so there's not 5 guys standing on the apron. It was a fun match. It wasn't just pinfall and submission elimination. It was also over the top rope.
Wait,
so the moment I heard that, yes, you can throw them over the top rope to eliminate. If it was a legal man, you could throw him over the top rope, and it doesn't matter who threw him over the top rope because at one point at the beginning of the match, all of Bullet Club was in the ring trying to throw Tanahashi out, and I was like, wait, did they say over the top rope? And so Gaito's the first one eliminated. Me and Jericho kind of calling this. Rock and Roll Express knocks out Gaito. They get their they get their moves on Gaito. They eliminate him. Literally seconds later, I think it was Chase Owens eliminates both Rock and Roll Express. Like, all right, we got him out of the way. A lot of stuff happened up to this point. The problem is right after that, like 5 other guys got eliminated. Within like 10 minutes. I'm thinking like, all right, a lot of people are going to eliminate. Maybe we're going to get like Tanahashi, Jay White for like 20 minutes at the end of the match. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, all right, this is perfect. We're probably going to get a one-on-one at the end of this match for a while.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That's what you assume, right? I mean, you had Ishii and Kenta further, and apparently they have kind of a feud, right? Because was it Ishii, I think, that when Kenta turned, I think he was wrestling against or something. I was looking something up, but so they had a nice spot where they were out like on the apron trying to knock each other out, and then somebody came up and knocked them both off the apron. That's how they both got eliminated. And they've wrestled around the building, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe they'll come out and have a singles match, you know, at the end of this. I'm sitting here pulling now because we're noticing that, hey, this is getting way too close to being a 2-hour show. We get to the end. I'm pretty sure it was Chase Owens and Tanahashi at the end. Not even Jay White and Tanahashi. Or even Kenta, Tanahashi, Kenta Ishii. It was Tanahashi and Chase Owens at the end, because Chase Owens thought he won, only realized Tanahashi was still in the match. They had a little bit of them. Tanahashi eventually, I don't even remember if Tanahashi threw him out. I think a lot of eliminations were throwouts.
That sounds... Sorry, I'm moving away from the mic. That sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for... And I'm probably spinning it worse. It was awesome to see them. And if they never come back to Philly, I'm so happy I got to see them. But in the grand scheme of things, when I look at price, location of my seats, it literally, I want to say this match ended with Tanahashi as the winner. I want to say tops 10 after 7. Tops 10 after 7. So then he's in there, doing his whole air guitar thing and thanking the crowd and all this stuff. And then he goes, I want to rock with Rock and Roll Express. So Rock and Roll Express comes back out. They all do the air guitar. And that's how it finishes. Rock and Roll Express goes back. Tanahashi takes picture with people. That lasted, that whole ending lasted almost as long as the match did. It was about a 15-20 minute Tanahashi air guitar thing. So it ended close to 7:30, but that's because we got an end of the night send off, which I keep waiting for one more match kind of thing. Ishii and Kenta to come back out. I'm still expecting this thing can't be any shorter than 7:30 worth of wrestling and 8 o'clock at the send off. I'm thinking you put this on at 5 o'clock, this show's going till 8 at least, right? You expect that. Even on a TV thing, you expect with dark matches and stuff to give you at least that third hour. Yeah. And now I'm spending $70 on a small ass arena ticket, and I'm not right by the barricade.
I remember when I went to it was House of Hardcore Royal Rumble weekend. Me, Jared, and his brother went. I spent like $35 on that ticket. And I was like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like terrible or anything like that. But I was just like, man, $35, that's a lot of money, and I didn't get my value out of it. Yours sounds 10 times worse.
Yes. And again, especially because I had about $40 tickets with tax and everything to go see AEW.
Yeah.
So I appreciated it later on. I started to think about everything I seen and like, you know what, that was pretty cool. I got to see the guys. I think I talked myself into liking it afterwards because of the experience. But I was pissed, man.
You paid more money for your one single ticket than I paid for 2 tickets to go up to New York. Yeah, go up to New York for their for the Supercard of Honor or whatever the hell they call it.
I'm pretty sure I paid almost less than $10 less than I paid for the 2 tickets for AEW. Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly why I was upset. That was by far the most expensive ticket I paid for. And I'd rather sit up in the 400 section of a big building to be able to actually see the card. And that's it. Yeah. So I was not happy. I did get to see Ricky Morton do a Canadian Destroyer to Gato, which was the highlight of the night. If anybody says any different, they're lying to you. He did a Canadian Destroyer. Old ass Ricky Morton pulled out a Canadian Destroyer. And it was fluid, man. It was fluid. Obviously, Ricky Morton is the only one that's still in kind of wrestling shape because Robert Gibson looked fucking awful. He couldn't even do the air guitar. He had trouble doing the air guitar. Ricky Morton is the one that does the moves with them, obviously, because I think I even seen like in New York or Boston, I think he did like a suicide dive in their match. So he's the one that's holding this old ass team still together. I mean, it was cool. Tanahashi sent everybody off. I mean, that was fun. The guy Rick that I said that I know from high school, he had tickets right by the ramp.
Oh, okay.
Like, we weren't that section right next to the ramp. We were the corner section. So he was right by the other side of the ramp, and he had a picture with Tanahashi when Tanahashi was leaving.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was, yeah, he sent it to me. We were already left. We seen Juice Robinson actually catching an Uber. So that was the second highlight of my night.
That was awesome.
Yeah. It was a Lyft or an Uber. I can't confirm if Juice Robinson uses a Lyft or an Uber, but he was definitely using some type of car service, and was complaining about not getting the trunk open. Well, not complaining, but he was just like, "Hey, open the trunk so I can put my bag in."
That sounds exactly like a wonderful.
But yeah, I literally didn't drive there. I want to stress this for people who don't know where I live, where we live to the arena, to know that I drove to my buddy's house that's about a half an hour away from me. We drove from his house that took us about a half an hour to get there. I had a draft at 8:30 for a show that started at 5. We drove from the stadium back to his house. I got my car, drove back home, stopped at McDonald's on a Sunday night. So they had about one person working there. Got a bunch of food. Came home. Still had time to go to the bathroom and make the very first pick of the whole draft.
Who'd you pick?
I didn't miss a single pick.
Who'd you pick?
There's keepers involved and stuff. I forget who I took. I forget who I don't even remember who I took with my first pick. That shows you how good of a draft I had.
Yeah.
I took Subban with my second pick, but I have Carter Hart.
Nice.
Thank you, Figo. I took his team. His team's shitty. And you keep 10 people, so now I'm screwed because I don't think there's a limit on how many years you can keep guys. So I didn't realize you keep 10 guys in this thing. So it's a 21-man roster. So yeah, but I at least got to get home and do it. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm in this. I didn't have to auto draft. That's cool. I wish I didn't spend $70 on a show that was 2 hours long, but it was fun. But I would have had more fun had Okada been there, or had I could see the ring, or not spend $70.
Yeah.
So there was a lot wrong with it. Yeah, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I went on a rant, and then I think I even deleted it and said, it was kind of fun. I think I talked myself into it, but I'm back to.
It was a terrible experience.
Yeah, it was. Could I do it over again? Me, Jerringer's brother would be sitting in different seats, and I would have spent the cheapest amount I could.
Yeah,
we just would have not sat near each other.
Yeah, if I would have known that you were getting $70 tickets, I would have dropped. I would not have gone.
Yeah, I think there was like a $50 one before it, and that was like that might have even been what this was with taxes and stuff. Might have been the 70. I don't even remember, but there was a limit we had, and that was the only 3 I could find. And I remember I texted Jer, and at that point, I don't think we had decided we were doing AEW. I'm pretty sure AEW went on sale like the week later or 2 weeks later, so we weren't decided on doing it. And I think Jerry even said that had he known that and that AEW was coming to Philly, he doesn't know that he would have spent that kind of money on those tickets anyway, and I kind of agree with him.
Yep.
So, it was an experience. Now, when they come back here every single year, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm going to be upset. But if they never come back to such a small arena in Philly again, at least I was in a small arena with them. I didn't get to see Okada, but I did get to see Jay White, and that's the most important thing.
Me and Culver seen Okada in that arena.
Yeah, well, you can go fuck yourself.
Well, you brought it up earlier. Let's head to the main
okay.
The main
this
appetite of this episode. So you got tickets and were able to go to the debut premiere episode of AEW Dynamite.
It was fucking awesome, dude. Oh my god, so awesome! It was worth the 3.5 hour drive.
I was going to ask how the ride down is, so I have to go down there for work probably about once a quarter.
Well, see, here's the biggest problem to all this. I was supposed to go with Jer, who got a new job and was not able to go because he doesn't get out of work until like 6. So I wanted to leave at 3. Tried to get our buddy John to go. He kept saying, I don't know if I'm going to have spending money. I kept telling him Jer already bought the ticket. He said, I don't know if I'm going to spend the money, this, whatever. I don't really watch wrestling that much anymore. I'm like, all right. So Jess told me she would go. My fiance said she would go. We just had to get somebody, my mom actually come over, watch the kids, pick Liam up from school, all that good stuff. So I was like, all right, I want to leave at 3. Not a second later. I'm worried about traffic. At one point, we're going to be hitting rush hour on the way there. I have no idea what parking's like down there. Don't even know where the stadium is. Want to leave at 3.
So side note, I can just tell you this from my all experiences down there. Like I said, I'm down there probably 4 times a year. Those are all legitimate concerns. It's absolutely terrible down there.
Way easier than the last time I was there. My God, was it smooth when we were down there. Biggest problem is I needed gas. I knew we were going to stop at Walton to get food, which is also why I went to leave at 3. Because it said 3 hours. It was going to give us time to stop. I know she can't last 3 hours, without needing some type of, going to the bathroom. So I'm thinking, all right, this is adding in stops, too. 3:45, we finally leave. Now I need gas. We can't make it there. So we got to get gas, and I don't want to get on the highway and get off. So we go get gas. We're driving. She offers to drive up because I'm used to driving at night, which I was thankful for because John was not going to be driving. I was going to be driving both ways, so at least I had somebody driving one way. The GPS screws up. She ends up getting off an exit at some points. That puts us back. There's traffic. There's accidents. All that fun stuff. So I talked to Carlos, who I'll get into that part soon. I'm talking more the ride there now. He says he read somewhere where you pre-order parking down there. So we're about an hour out. I pre-order parking. We get there, no problem. I park until 2 a.m. We actually get to the stadium, get inside there, which we weren't supposed to get to the parking lot until 7:20. The show starts at 7:30. We get in the stadium, tickets shown, everything, to hear JR's music walking down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Now, she had to go to the bathroom. We go up to the 400 level. She goes to the bathroom. We get to our seats at the very beginning of the dark match, the Darby Allin and was it Cima?
Yeah.
Cima, however you pronounce his name. So we get there about the very beginning of the match with her going to the bathroom and everything. We didn't get anything to eat. She was going to run down and grab something. I was going to stay at the seat. But surprisingly, it all worked out well. It was very easy to get to from where the parking garage was. It was smooth going in, I guess, because most people had gotten there early. So since we got there so close to the show, there really wasn't a wait as far as tickets go. So that was good. Now, I'll go back to the Carlos thing real quick because I want to get through all that so then I can talk about the card. We did a giveaway, very short notice, of 2 extra tickets to Dynamite. We had 2 tickets. We did a Twitter, retweet, all that fun stuff giveaway. And actually, who would won was our friend Carlos, which I actually met through you.
Yes. I went to
block party.
Yeah, I went to high school with him. Great guy.
Yeah.
Just had another child. I forget if it was a boy or girl.
Yeah.
But.
So,
also, best part about Carlos, did the most research, I feel, for the...
oh my God, yes he did.
Yes, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, so he wins. Super appreciative. He's all excited. I wasn't even sure if he'd be able to go because he had just had a kid. So thankfully his wife was very nice and let him go. But so I was contacting him kind of back and forth a little bit, talking about possibly seeing each other because the sections of the tickets were not that far away. I think we were 402, they were 401. So I'm sitting there watching the first match. He told me he got there about 6:40, where we were supposed to get there at 7:20. Literally creepiest text message I ever got. I'm calling you out right now, Carlos. You're going to hear this. And it's the creepiest message I ever got. Literally, all it said was, "Meet me in the hallway." Nothing else. I'm sitting in my seat watching the end of the Darby Allin match, and I get, "Meet me in the hallway." And I'm like, that's creepy. Like, elaborate. What the hell you mean by this? So I don't like getting up from my seat. You've been to many events with me. Nope. I don't get up
you
ever.
You do not. That's why you like me, because I like to get up, and I have a small bladder, and I can go get beers and food and
I get my food, beer, and drink at the beginning of the show. I don't even give a fuck if there's an intermission. I do not get up. So I'm like, fuck, because we're seats 3 and 4. I'm a big guy. I don't like making these two people that are in first and second seat move literally 10 minutes into us being there. So I'm like, all right. Jess said she's going to get food. I'm like, all right, we'll both go down. I'll go say hi to him. I'll come back up, and you go get the food. So I go down there. I see him and his friend Remy. And he explained to me how he was standing in line waiting for beer, and this guy starts talking to him. And this guy had extra tickets down by the entrance ramp. He said he had 2 extra tickets. Now, Carlos, being the saint that he is, because I would have never thought of this, he goes, "Any chance you have 4?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I do." So Carlos got us seats down to 100 level, literally not the seats on the floor, but 5 rows up from right there at the stage. So we're right there. We could see behind the curtain of everybody walking up to the side.
Oh, that's so cool.
My God, it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, the 4 of us sitting there, we were like all the way kind of at the end. There was one person in the seat, and it was the 4 of us. So awesome. So now, we're all the way back where the entrance is. So our view's pretty good, but we're right there, seeing everybody on the ramp. When guys are walking to the back, when they go through our side, because we were opposite of where the announce team was.
Yeah.
We were more camera side, I believe. Yeah, because we could see the tarped off area where the cameras were. Fucking awesome. My God. It put everything that New Japan was out of my mind.
Oh, that is
great. It was great. I was already excited to be there. The setup was cool. I loved everything about it. And then we got there, and it multiplied it by 1,000.
Oh, that is so awesome.
And we got to those seats right as the pyro was going off for 8 o'clock. So we didn't miss a fucking thing.
Oh, dude.
I got to see the Darby Allin match upstairs. They only had one dark match. I got to go buy a hat for Liam. I got a pin and a drawstring bag because my drawstring bag I use now ripped. So we got all that and still got down to our seats in time to see the very beginning. So I didn't miss shit. Outside of like JR and them announcing like the announcers at the very beginning. Didn't miss anything.
That's awesome. That is great.
So Jess went and got food right after we got to our seats and all that stuff, but I didn't miss a damn thing. I got to sit there with Carlos to kind of talk to him, his friend Remy a little bit. So it was oh my God, great. I can't say any more things. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for winning.
Yeah,
because there's so many factors of that could have went into me not having the extra tickets. I had offered for people to buy them before we ever made it as a giveaway. If somebody had bought them, anybody else wins, probably not getting a text from them.
Yeah.
Had they not decided to get beer and offered to miss the dark match by getting beer, they don't see the guy in line, and that doesn't happen.
Oh,
so many things.
It's karma, and we're not talking about the wrestler.
Had Jer still been going, and I had the 2 extra tickets, he might want to bring his brother, and I might bring Jess, and Carlos never comes, and that never happens. You know what I mean? So many things happened for that.
Oh yeah,
it was oh my God, it was great.
That is fantastic. I am glad to hear that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So I think
I knew you might not have knew that.
I think I did see just like a picture of close or something like that. Yeah. It was like you were close. I was just like, oh wow, because I remember when you were talking to me about this before. You had mentioned something like, oh yeah, like I had 2 sets of tickets. There's one like like the set that you had, and then you bought a second set, and then you weren't sure which ones you were going to use. So,
yeah.
Speaking of AEW, the Aew Dynamite. Wow, this is so weird still to see Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross on at the same commentary booth.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually gave Carlos and anybody who'd won was actually getting the more expensive tickets.
Oh, okay.
Purely because it was a little bit higher up, even though it was more centered ring. It was a couple rows up, and Jess is afraid of heights, so I tried to get as close to, I didn't want to go too far up. It was only a difference of like 5 rows, but it was one section over, so we were a little bit off center. So
this is going to be good.
The card itself.
Did you see this? The Havoc.
I don't know
Darby
how
out?
Delayed. Okay, yeah. Havoc against Aeon.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of this is going to happen because right now I have NXT and Dynamite on screens next to each other. I'm listening to AEW a little bit.
I have it muted.
Yeah, I have NXT muted. But so let's get to the card. Fucking awesome. It so refreshing, and I'm going to compare it a little bit to I watched Raw from this past Monday, last week's SmackDown, and NXT. It felt like a weekly TV wrestling show, and it's asinine to say that, knowing that Raw and SmackDown is a weekly wrestling TV, but it felt like a weekly TV show.
That's good.
NXT, I ended up watching NXT afterwards, as a whole was better. Or I guess as matches was better. How about that? I say that. Separate, it was better. They put on takeover style matches. Which is never going to last. It was not a weekly TV show. It was them trying to put a takeover on to beat Dynamite, and it was super obvious.
That's the thing. Like, so when they pulled out so I figured you were going to get some surprises on the NXT. Like, they were definitely Ciampa returning. Yep, kind of expected that.
And I was super amped for that because Carlos ruined the Finn Balor thing. I was trying to stay away from everything. He told me about Finn Balor. He did not tell me about Ciampa, and I was super excited because I stayed away from everything and I watched it.
But that's the thing that WWE has. WWE has that, like, yeah, you got Finn Balor back in NXT. That is huge. I love it. It's great. Hopefully it's going to be good. But yeah, WWE can pull that out and have Finn Balor come in. AEW, on the other hand, and this is what's awesome, is their surprise is Jack Haggard.
Yeah.
Former Jack Swagger of WWE. I liked his gimmick. I thought he wasn't bad. He just ended up I really liked him with what's his name? Zeb Coulter.
Yeah. Now you didn't see the show, right?
No, I did not.
So I'm going to talk about his return a little bit as we get to the end of this, just because I want to explain how they did it and why it was better than Ciampa and Finn Balor. And I'm going to explain why. There's an explanation why. And I love Ciampa. It's probably surprising for you to hear me say that because Ciampa probably is my favorite wrestler right now. So for me to see him come back was awesome, but NXT was just it was a takeover on NXT. They're not going to do that every week.
Yeah.
They tried to basically take over Dynamite's night.
I see what you did
obvious. There. Yeah, that wasn't even on purpose. But it was super obvious where I feel like what Dynamite gave could hold up. What they did was they gave us weekly television matches. They didn't go over the top with the matches they did. They didn't give us once in a lifetime matches. They didn't give us championship matches except for the women's. and it was the inaugural one, so it made more sense. But they didn't give us 5 championship matches. You know, they gave us legitimate matches. Cody against Sammy Guevara was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And you know what was even better? Jericho coming out at the end of that match and attacking Cody. Why? Because it furthers a storyline that's already been happening because they're wrestling at Full Gear.
Yeah.
It was just awesome to see stuff that made a little bit of sense. And the match was good. It wasn't snooze fest or amazing, which is what Raw and SmackDown has become.
All right, I'm sold on Private Party. I see it. Again, awesome. We're watching Dynamite. Private Party came out with a red velvet rope that a guy let them into the ring to.
It's little things like that. First of all, that set is amazing. I love their set in person. That set is awesome, and it looks great on TV too.
I love the dual entrances. I think TNA tried to do it for a little bit. I love it. I think it's great. It's really cool. I think it makes a cool dynamic for tag team wrestling to have each wrestler come out if they want to. Or even for a singles match, if you have one-on-one. One of the weirdest things, and I've kind of lost track of it, is just like, all right, these two people are coming out. They're coming out the same way. So, and they're coming out not far apart from each other, so...
Right.
These people that hate each other are literally passing each other in the hallway. At least here, it gives a little bit of the illusion that they're separated. They're only coming this way. The other person's coming this way. It's small. It's subtle, but I like it.
So, the Cody Guevara match, and they even, I forget if they made reference to it before, and I love what they're doing, and I know people have an issue with the Darby Allin Havoc match, why that's a championship contender match, but their whole point is wins and losses matter. And somebody actually complained, why is that number one contenders match? And Cody explained on Twitter why it is. And he said quality of matches matter. He said Darby Allin put on a long good match with me, and he beat Shima, whatever, that wasn't aired yet, but that was in the dark match of last week. And then he talked about how Havoc beat 2 top players in that Cracker Barrel match they had. And he was kind of explaining it. It's kind of like the BCS, college football.
That's what I was going to say. That's what he compared it to. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a good comparison.
Being undefeated doesn't automatically give you a match. And
unless you're Notre Dame.
Yes, and somebody was, and Notre Dame, they're almost never in the Final Four since they've had it, you know. So, and someone even said about, which I always thought his name was Pac. Apparently, it's Pac. They asked about him, and somebody was saying, I think it's because he just beat Hangman, but he beat him on a low blow.
Yeah.
So even though it's a win against Hangman, it's not considered as good as Sammy's match, or not Sammy, Darby Allin's match that he put on with Cody.
Here's the one thing,
because it was a longer match.
Here's the one thing that they're going to screw themselves over with, I think, is this wins and losses matter type mentality. I like it, but you're going to have Cody doing that every week for every decision that's made.
And if they're okay with doing it, which I think they are,
then yeah,
that's fine. And I'd rather somebody try to give me a fake ass explanation on a wrestling predetermined match than you sit there and scratch your head and be like, why'd this happen, and have nobody even attempt to explain to you why.
But on the other side,
I appreciate it.
I'll compare this to WWE though. The fact that Bray Wyatt got a title match, although the quality of it was bad, I loved.
I did too, but contributed. It contributed to the ending. Him getting a match there and then for the title is what contributed to that ending.
But that's where it's like AEW can't do something like that.
They can and probably will, but right now they're trying to be different. Yeah. And right now it's appreciated that they're trying something out.
Agreed.
They can scratch it, They can. Nobody's saying that has to be held truth forever. They can scratch it whenever the hell they want. And honestly, they can set anything up they want to be wins and losses. They could have given Pac a title match and explained it, and it would have made sense. Just like they explained this. You know, you can manipulate it any way you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Literally have Sammy Guevara have a 30-minute match with Jericho the week before and lose, and them say, all right, now he gets a title shot with Jericho because they had a great match.
Yeah.
You know, they can manipulate any way they want.
Side note, just for the people listening, if a few minutes ago you heard me chewing on something, I apologize. I've been eating, but I've been trying to mute my mic every time I did, and I just went to unmute it, and it looked like it was muted, so I'm not sure. So apologies for that.
Yeah, and I can hear you through your other mic, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care if you hear me.
So the Cody Sammy Guevara, I mean, it was an awesome TV match. I don't need pay-per-view quality matches on my TV shows. I don't. That's where Raw and SmackDown get it wrong. They give us the once-in-a-lifetime match on a Raw when they should be giving it to us in a pay-per-view. It was a good TV show match. And that's all I asked for out of my TV show. I want the great matches to be on the pay-per-view because I feel like I paid for the pay-per-view. I don't want an Iron Man match that's less time than a Monday night match as my main event like somebody has done in the past. I don't remember who. That was sarcasm.
Yeah, I was like, it was Rollins Ziggler. Yeah. I thought maybe you actually forgot who was involved in it.
No. But that's my point. Is they gave us a worse match at the pay-per-view than they gave us on Raw.
But I will say, and this may be something, and what I always want is, I want those surprises. Like, you know what?
I want the surprises, but you don't have to keep it. I mean, I was very excited. I'm going to run down the card of Dynamite from last week, and I wasn't disappointed in any single match. And looking at their roster, I don't know that I'm going to be. And if they mix in the right type of matches and give their matches enough time without all the fluff in between, you know, it. And the funny thing is, I seen about 2 super kicks in that Young Bucks, Omega, Jericho, and Ortiz and Santana.
That's surprising.
I think at one point Jericho turned something Omega did into the walls of Jericho or Lion Tamer, whatever you want to call it, and the Young Bucks came in and super kicked them at the same time.
Oh, I saw that.
I don't know that there was another super kick.
I saw that video. That was a really cool. I like that. Yeah, how that super kick.
And happened. I don't know that either one of them did another super kick. Now, this when you go see them at a house show, they super kick every single person 8 million times. But I appreciate it, the fact that they toned it down a little bit. Because I want that to happen on a pay-per-view. I don't want it to happen on a weekly show. I don't want to see them super kick everybody 8,000 times on a regular show. I want it to be important.
That's the one thing I think you're going to see. The big thing with AEW is that a lot of these guys are used to having more indie shows. So they can do a lot more because it's a lot easier schedule. So I'm watching this Young Bucks private party match, and this is already too over the top for a TV show, I feel. It's a really fun match, and I wouldn't mind if paying a pay-per-view money for it. That's what the issue is. Yes, it's early on. This is the first...
It's also the tag team tournament. I feel like sometimes the matches, like that Cody Sammy Guevara match, was huge. Why? Because they basically said if Guevara beats Cody, that he might take his title shot.
Yes.
So it had importance on it. The women's match was better than the Baszler-Candice LeRae match. Even though Nyla Rose botched 2 things, one during the match, one after the match. But even with that, and I love Shayna Baszler, that match was better. It just was. And I appreciate those matches. I don't need a random AJ Styles and Nakamura match on a random Raw with no title shot to be huge. This is a tag team tournament match. I want it to be huge. I want them to go all out to try to win the tag titles.
I see what you did there.
As long as you do that, yes. Again, didn't do it on purpose. But I want the certain matches to mean something. Hangman and Pac, their match was good. It wasn't great. it was good. And it ended with Pac giving him a low blow. You know, like that's essentially what won him the match. Just like Cody won his match on a small package, right? I think.
I'm happy.
If I remember correctly.
I'm happy we get the low blow on TV and not on a pay-per-view. That's what I think is going to make the big difference.
And that's what I'm saying. Their finishes were not clear finisher to win. And it was appreciated. Because everything on WWE is a big match, you have to hit your finisher 3 times. Everybody's kicking out from finishers. I don't even know how many finishers were used in the first episode of Dynamite because I don't know everybody's finishers, but it felt like less. You know, it didn't feel. It felt like a good show. It didn't have to be a pay-per-view quality show, and it still was good and fun. So I'm not going to hold too much time on Hangman and Pac because I feel like that's going to happen again eventually. And it was good. It was good for what it was.
They're probably setting it up for Full Gear.
Yeah. So MJF wrestled Brandon Cutler. And that was a fun match.
How was the reaction for MJF? Like, because I'm
pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he got cheered. Then he cut his music. Shit talk the crowd and people, you know, you got that half boo, half laugh kind of thing. Jericho, same way, got super cheered when he came out and destroyed Cody at the beginning of the show. It's tough. It's their very first show. The crowd's not going to be on board completely with heel and face right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was just a lot of excitement going into it. So, you know, MJF beat him pretty clean after Cutler, you know, it looked like MJF might not win, but that match was purely thrown in there to put over MJF's mic skills. So I'm trying to think, what else? Oh, well. I kind of seen that coming, though.
What?
Leo Rush just won the Cruiserweight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the women's match. Awesome. I already said that it was awesome. Riho won in a relatively believable way, which was good to see. After Jericho had run in earlier in the night, we were wondering if Kong might run in here. And Jess actually pointed something out, which me and Carlos were impressed. Around our seats, because we were by the entrance, security kind of beefed up a little bit before Jericho had come out earlier. So security came out again. And it was before the match this time, and she had mentioned it. So we were waiting for Kong to come out the whole time. It never happened.
That's funny.
But then Nyla Rose started beating up, what's his name, Michael Nakazawa.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was out there, and Carlos was like, I think Rio's going to win. He's out here, it looks like, to announce the winner. I think Rio's going to end up winning. So Nyla Rose starts beating him up, and then goes into Rio, and Kenny Omega comes out. So somebody did come out. It was just Kenny Omega.
Right, didn't he, present her the title or something?
No, he came out to save her.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't even out there for it. Was like for his neck. And the only explanation I could think that they're going to give is that his tag match was next. He was waiting by the stage to come out. Because was confused by why he came out.
Well, it makes sense. She's a protege of him. So.
Okay. All right. See, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, he trained with her.
It wasn't super obvious to me.
Oh, I forget what promotion he was in a promotion he was over in Japan. He just went back there recently. I forget what it was, but yeah, I forget what they call these style of Japanese women.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah, don't just make something up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that at least explains that part to me. That was one of the only parts of the night where I was like, huh? But I also know I don't know the background of a lot of the people on here. So, it was an awesome match.
Oh my God, that is a hell of a move.
I think I'm a little bit after you. You talking about when he did like the Hurricane Rana into like the kind of RKO?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So that match was really good. The women's match was very, very good. It was what you want out of a main event, even though it wasn't the main event. It was what you want out of a main event of a weekly show.
Yes.
And it was by far the main event of the show. I understand why they put the 6-man tag at the end, especially after you see what happened. So now let's lead to the 6-man tag. I was confused why, even though I guessed LAX was going to be the tag partners, I was confused why they announced it the night before.
So I actually watched and I might have an answer for this. I watched an interview of Tony Khan. Private Party just beat the Bucks. I figured that.
I had a weird feeling when I seen them listed as the first round. I kind of assumed that was going to happen.
I watched an interview of Tony Khan of after. It was after the debut episode, and he said that they did a countdown show on Tuesday night, and what they wanted to do was give people that watched that show something as a like a thank you type of thing, or like a here you go, this is what you're going to get for like counting in and watching the show. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
I appreciate it because I wouldn't have liked that to be a surprise, and then the surprise at the end of the match, I would have felt like it was overkill anyway. So I appreciated them giving it beforehand regardless. So the main event, for those of you that don't know, is Young Bucks, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, and the most recent LAX, not the original LAX from Impact, Ortiz and Santana.
Well, they're not LAX. This is where you're getting it wrong.
They were LAX in Impact.
Yes, that's what you have to say. They're not LAX now.
I'm saying from Impact, they're not the original LAX. For those that may have watched Impact when it was TNA, it's not the original LAX. It's the most recent LAX from Impact. It now is just Ortiz and Santana. Okay, so there you go. Did I explain it well enough for you?
Thank you.
Sorry. So, this match started off, good. You had your little bit of Omega, Jericho, and then Moxley makes his appearance, which I completely forgot they even said he was supposed to make an appearance. So, him coming out, I was like, oh, okay, here's his appearance. He comes out to no DQ, which a lot of people, I know some people had problems with. I think the referee uses his discretion on DQs. I've always appreciated. I think that's how New Japan does their stuff. I love when it's not so black and white. They'll allow a match to continue and stuff like that. I think it helps with doing shit like this, as opposed to the Hell in a Cell finish, where it didn't even make sense. It wasn't even black and white, but they tried to make sense out of it.
It lets the referees, like when you have a very heated match, that you don't have to have a referee get knocked out for to use like a chair or something or like a table or something. Like you don't have to have the ref knocked out for something like that. The ref can be like, you know what, this is an intense rivalry, I'm going to let it go.
Yeah. So, as from being there to watching on TV, this part was weird, and we knew it happened at the stadium because they showed the TV feed up on the board, up on the thing above the ring. So they cut to Moxley and Omega fighting throughout the stadium instead of the match. The match was still going on, but the TV feed showed it. Now, at certain points, and this, I appreciate this from the TV feed, I think anytime a match was going on when they went to a commercial, they did box in box. So they kept the match going on in a small box up in the corner while the commercial went on. Almost like you would see, for sports. So I appreciated that. When a match was going on, they continued it.
That's good, yeah.
You couldn't hear what was going on, but you could see it in a box. So I appreciate that. So in my mind, they should have done that during the Moxley Omega thing. They should have showed the match up in a small box and had the main bigger box be what Moxley and Omega was doing. So Moxley puts Omega through a glass table in one of the suites or whatever it was. So that was, a huge thing. So now it's a 3-on-2. You kind of see the Young Bucks are going to end up losing, as they do, which is great. You have the champion go over there. It ties in earlier when Jericho beats down Cody and Guevara just kind of walked away. Guevara shook Cody's hand earlier tonight and then held on to it so Jericho could come down, but you thought they were unrelated. Now it ties that in because Guevara comes back down because I think Cody came out to attack Jericho, then Guevara comes out to attack Cody, which then Dustin comes out to save his brother, dressed all in the Goldust garb, which was funny because he had no matches. He had no dark matches. He was just that part I found funny because he was literally involved in no matches.
And is it just like assuming, he's just sitting back there just in red paint?
Well, they told us they were going to have 3 dark matches at the end, which ended up going to AEW Dark, which they had on last night on Tuesday. So certain guys were there in gear, and it made more sense now. And I assumed Dustin was going to be wrestling, which he didn't. So I was confused by his gear. But then the big surprise of the night, what's it? Jake Hager, right? Yes. It's not even Jack. I think it's Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger from WWE, comes out and makes a surprise entrance that had been rumored previously that he might be a part of this without overshadowing what happened at the end. And what happened at the end is Jericho formed a little army. It wasn't, oh my God, Jack Swagger's there. It was, oh my God, Jericho's also got Jack Swagger in his pocket.
Yes.
Because I thought the whole Ortiz and Santana was just, I didn't realize they were going to be affiliated in some way. And now this tied them all together. Now you have a little mini group here of Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, Hager, and Guevara, which, I'm assuming the whole point is to feud with the Elite in some way, shape, or form, because half the roster is some way affiliated to the Elite. So it's almost like an outsiders thing here.
It's gonna be Bucks, Jericho, or no. Bucks, Cody, Dustin, and Hangman probably. That's gonna be this 5-on-5 match.
Yeah, but and if you've seen that they're trying to get the rights, and they never will, to War Games because obviously it was Dusty's idea, and Cody wants to get it, and all I was thinking was, they have to do some type of formation of War Games. It doesn't have to be War Games. Do some type of. I mean, they can't do the same exact match, just a little bit different.
World War III.
But World War III was a battle royal.
I know. Yeah, but I'm just thinking something like that. This is just
they have a nice mixture of the group. It's what you want a group to be. You got the tag team. You got the champion. You got the Batista style enforcer that eventually is going to turn on the head guy because he's not going to be in the background for so long. And then you got the young guy in Guevara. They have all the formations of a long-term group right here, and it's so randomly mixed and so perfectly mixed at the same time. So I'm only saying it right now because Jericho's on the mic with everybody around them. But it ended very good. They didn't need an over-the-top surprise at the end. It was a surprise, and people said, oh my God, it wasn't as good as Baylor or Ciampa. I don't think it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was.
I think people wanted this huge, amazing surprise for their first show, and you know what they told me is, we'll give you little things like this constantly. But we're not going to over-the-top it, so then next week isn't nearly as good.
This is going to be something that will make you appreciate it even more. So I was watching a video of Tony Khan. He did a thing after this. He said Jake Hager has been signed since before All Out.
I don't know if you've seen something when they originally mentioned Moxley.
I know his name was thrown around.
He got interviewed and basically spoiled that Moxley was going to be there. And they asked him, like, are you going to be there? And he said, I'm pretty sure this is going to be John's show or whatever he called him, Dean Ambrose, whatever. He said, I'm pretty sure they're using him here. So they're probably going to want to wait to use me. And everybody kind of like threw it off as he's like kind of like, you know, almost like trolling them. Like, oh, yeah. This is who's rumored to be there. They're going to use me kind of thing later. But in reality, I think he just slipped.
Yeah, probably.
I think he actually told the truth. But everybody kind of just brushed it off. But I love it. I love it, too, because they don't need to bring everybody in here to be stars. Pac's not getting a title shot right away. You know? They didn't bring Hager in right away to get a title shot. I love it. I love it. Not every guy that comes in that's any type of name needs to get pushed to the moon. He's literally going to be the champion's enforcer in a group.
Yep.
That was their big surprise from the first show. And you got a guy like Moxley who's not in the title picture. Why? Because why would he be? He's supposed to be that insane character, like almost like what Wyatt is supposed to be.
Yeah.
In that he doesn't care about the title. He's just there to inflict pain. And him and Omega have something that goes deeper than the title. And you got a guy like Omega who could have very easily been their first champion. Really hasn't been around that picture because of the Moxley feud. You know, I love it. I love what they're doing. And I hope they keep it up because I love it. I love the announce team. Shivani ties Excalibur and Jim Ross together like, oh my God. He's the missing piece. I love the three of them. There's a nice level of old school with Shivani and JR. And Excalibur throwing in his little stuff here and there. It's a nice... And Shivani really gets JR off of some of his tangents sometimes that he kind of goes on where he's lost. Shivani brings things back on track. He was the perfect compliment to them.
That's good.
I loved listening to them on commentary. And apparently, and I don't know how true this is, I'm using Carlos's information, that a guy that was the head of production or something with Impact, was trying to get a contract with them. And instead, they were basically paying him show to show. And apparently, AEW offered him a contract to leave, so he left. So they were excited because their production was very good. Compared to what I've seen on their pay-per-views, their production was very good, and apparently that has a lot to do with it, was they brought whoever in, or their team in, or whatever exactly the full story is.
Yeah. So,
like, they were pretty much prepared for this because they had somebody who'd already been doing it with Impact. Because that has been their biggest downfall of what you've seen, was literally camera cuts. All that stuff was just weird.
Yeah.
On some of their all in and all out. And,
oh yeah,
and all that. I remember. Double or Nothing.
What was the one we watched over Jer's house? Was that all?
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. That was the biggest problem with it. Was just everything all over the place. Oh, also Jack Hager, he's still doing Bellator.
Yeah.
So he's like...
And that's another reason why you don't throw him right in the picture right away. He might not even wrestle for a while. He just might be the guy who stands there with Jericho. And guess what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him being in the background for a couple months and then finally starting to wrestle. Because now it's a whole new guy thrown in the picture later on that you're not getting matches now, but you're seeing them now.
This is just incredible for the time we're in with AEW and... Like,
yes.
Like it's so awesome that wrestling is a thing again. And
it's so worth watching. For any of you, and I know some of our friends actually listen and don't really watch wrestling.
Get into it. Like
I don't want to be an AEW over WWE thing. I don't want this to be that in any way, shape, or form. But
just sit back.
If you're not as into wrestling, AEW is probably the more fun show. If you don't want something that's a little bit more kiddified, which WWE has to aim towards kids. Bray Wyatt is the best thing happening. The Fiend is the best thing happening. I love Ciampa's back for NXT. I've loved the way they've booked Shayna Baszler from the beginning. I love things about WWE. But I just watched Raw, the last Raw and the last SmackDown. They're too long, and I watched them without commercials. And they just feel too long.
Yeah.
There's a lot of filler matches where I feel like so far, and I know it's only week 2, that AEW's at least giving us matches that make sense. I mean, that the feud right now that they have with Natty and what's her face?
You're the girl, women's right.
The girl,
Lacey Evans.
Yeah. Lacey Evans. Yeah, I went to call her Lana, and I'm like, that's not right. That feud they have, it's pointless. It's so pointless.
But then pointless. Speaking of dumb shit that you have, the Lana stuff with Bobby Lashley. I don't like.
They focused all Monday night on Strowman and Tyson Fury because they're going to announce it for Crown Jewel. And I know they probably tried to avoid the Baylor Fiend match because of the ending, but that was your championship main event.
Yeah.
And you spent the whole time on Monday talking about something that happened on a different channel on Friday. The whole time.
Yeah, I know.
About a guy, no offense to Tyson Fury.
I don't even know
never
him.
Fucking heard of him.
I have no idea who he is.
Cain Velasquez makes sense. The him and Brock Lesnar thing makes sense. He beat him for the title. People know it because guess what? People who don't watch MMA watch Brock Lesnar fight MMA. They've heard of Cain Velasquez.
Jack Hager was a bigger ending, I think. Maybe it's just because I'm more of a wrestling fan, and it probably is. Was a bigger ending than having Cain Velasquez come out. Because to me, it's just like...
I don't believe so. I didn't like what Velasquez looked like in the ring, but it beat the hell out of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury threw clear punches that didn't come anywhere close to the security's faces. Like, not even anywhere close. And that camera angles did not help him at all. They showed him clearly miss. Like, with like a foot in between his hand and the guy's face, and they were all falling down. It was bad.
Yeah,
oh my God. Him fighting with Strowman was bad. It just was not good.
So, what are we at? An hour 20? Is this Fox's doing or is this WWE? Cain Velasquez, you know what? That's WWE. That's.
Well, they're having it at Crown Jewel. These matches are supposedly rumored to be at Crown Jewel. I think this is WWE. I think this is Saudi Arabia, but I think this is WWE. I think this is WWE
for
doing it.
Tyson Fury, though. Cain Velasquez.
Both of these are for Crown Jewel. They're both matches going to happen at Crown Jewel.
You know what? I'm fine with that.
Cain Velasquez is not signed with WWE. This is apparently a one-off thing for him. He was rumored to be going to AEW and still is thought of it he might. This is supposed to be a one-off thing for both of them.
But here's the thing. This is where I wish Lesnar didn't have the title. Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar in a wrestling match, WrestleMania. Not main event.
Exactly.
Or
both of these are. Both of these matches are WrestleMania. You got your celebrity match with Strowman, which you probably put boxing gloves on them or some stupid shit. You know, that's how you get that match. Then you get you get Velasquez and Lesnar. Like, yeah, that's WrestleMania that they're putting at Crown fucking Jewel.
Yeah.
Crown Jewel.
You know, if we can thank the Saudis for anything, it's probably Pyro between them and. I really do like how they do the records thing.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. When next time you see their graphic pop up with their name, it will give the match type that they're in and then their overall record. So Darby's 1-1-1. And then his overall is 1-2-1 because he lost that triple threat match.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it. I'll have to pay a little bit more attention the next one.
It's subtle. But, it was subtle. Oh my God! Yeah. When Darby did that backdrop on the side apron, oh my God!
Yeah. So real quick, AEW was awesome. They had a. I realized I got off track here.
Yeah.
It was awesome. They gave us 2 hours. They gave us 3 dark matches at the end, which was about another hour. They gave us 1 dark match at the beginning, so that was a half an hour. So a show that started at 7:30 ended at, what was it, 11? And I paid $40 for that ticket as opposed to the 2-hour show that I paid $70 and couldn't see anything. It was awesome. Oh, and Young Bucks, I think they did it again for their entrance here. They have actual money come down with their faces on it.
I
got 3 of them.
Oh,
I got 3 of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were by the thing, and the people in front of us, the people that worked there, gave it to some guy, and they passed it up to literally the row in front of us. So, and even I think a guy next to Jess. So Jess was like, "Do you want one?" She seen it in my face. I said, "Yes," because I'm thinking she's small, she's a female, she might be able to talk her way into it. So before it even got to the end where she could kind of ask somebody, they one of the workers picked up a bunch and it looked like she was taunting the crowd. She started flipping the dollar bills because people were asking them for it. So she gave some up to the one section and some literally to the guy who was sitting next to the guy Remy who was with Carlos.
Yeah.
And like a whole handful. So he started passing them and a bunch of people in front of us already got them. So people didn't really want them. So like I have like a ripped one that I could give to the kids if they want, and then I have 2 that are in really good condition just sitting here.
That's
and it's
cool.
Fucking great.
I'm excited because we're going next week.
Yeah, it got me excited, but I mean, me and you already got moved down at the Rumble, and then I had this happen. I don't see it happen again, but I've been lucky. It shows. So
yeah, I'm just excited to go. Listen,
just talk to a random guy. If you're getting beer and some guy starts talking wrestling with you, you get hardcore about it. That's all.
It's our normal friends. I got an additional friend going this time too, so that's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
he's going to get the. I
mailed Jerry's ticket.
Oh, did you?
Because he said he might be a little late.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if I'm going to get the time to see him, so I literally mailed it to him. I should text him and find out if he got it, but yeah, I mailed it to him. I got actual physical tickets.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I like to keep. I did the same thing for the 2 tickets I was keeping to the DC show. I wanted the physical ticket and it doesn't say Dynamite on any of them because I bought them before they named it Dynamite.
Oh,
so
okay. Just
as AEW wrestling. But yeah, it was fucking great. I haven't fully watched this, but watching on TV is awesome too, and I'm excited for it because I
How much were these tickets? They were like $35, $32 or something. Nothing too
expensive.
It was
it was. I think it was about $34 a person. It wasn't like that, that's the price I think that I spent on the DC one.
Which is I think, and I said this before. Like I think AEW looks awesome in this venue that they're at tonight. It's a smaller version. There's no upper layer, there's no tarped off sections or anything like that. I think that's really what's going to do AEW well is to try to sell out venues, not be in the biggest venue at all times.
Right. And there was some open seats. I know all the people that see, I'm not a WWE hater. It might sound that way because I'm talking up AEW, but I was just there. It was exciting to me, and it's the new thing. It's exciting. I can watch both.
Oh.
It's the first time in a long time that I watched a full episode of Raw. I watched the whole thing of Hell in a Cell, and I watched a whole episode of SmackDown. I've watched NXT, so that's not anything new for me. But it's gotten me back into wanting to watch wrestling as a whole, which I appreciate what AEW is doing in that aspect. It's getting me excited to watch both sides.
They keep on saying, like, we're not competing with WWE, we're giving people an alternative, and they're talking the buzz around it, and it's like, obviously they want people to watch AEW. That's not even a question. But if they really if the Codys and the Bucks honestly do believe this mindset of we want them, if we cause buzz for the industry, then it's a win. Yeah. Here's something I'll compare it to. And it's going to sound weird. T-Mobile. And so give me a second. So years ago, T-Mobile had this uncarrier thing. like this Uncarrier, and it helped push them to the top of the cell phone industry. Like they're now like maybe the third. Like they were on the cusp of bankruptcy, but they started doing these like Uncarrier things where they were taking a hit on some stuff, but they were kind of changing the industry a little bit to where it was like, you get unlimited data for your streaming music or uploading photos or watching YouTube videos, and then unlimited. They kept on doing these small things. Other cell phone companies started to have to do unlimited plans, and that's why we're kind of back at a point to where most cell phone companies have a relatively cheap unlimited plan, because T-Mobile did something that, they started something, but it started to make the whole industry better. Cell phone industry is still terrible, but this is kind of similar in the sense that they're trying to do something different, and it may push to make the whole industry better, and you care about the whole industry now.
All right. I'll just agree.
Thank you.
But like I said, yeah, in a sense, you're right. And that's what it just got me excited. I can't wait to watch Impact. I haven't watched Impact in forever.
I'm excited for this
I want to watch full things of. Yeah, I started to watch it, and then I fell asleep. But I needed to get some sleep today, so I was trying to keep myself awake. But I will definitely be watching the whole thing. I only watched the first match they had, but yeah, I'm excited for everything. Like I said, I've heard talk of the MLW, so I'm going to finally watch it. I might actually go back and watch the Lucha Underground, which I never got to watch any of that.
It's on Netflix.
I'm thinking of going back. It was. I don't think it is anymore. But I'll find a way to watch them. It's getting me excited for wrestling as a whole. Am I going to watch Raw and SmackDown every week? Probably not. No. It's too much. It's just too much. NXT at 2 hours is already in my mind if I'm going to be watching that. But I'm going to try to watch more. And I know I've said this plenty of times, but I'm already there. I have not watched a full pay-per-view that was not the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or SummerSlam in years. Maybe 5, 6, 7 plus years that I've watched from beginning to end every match without skipping, and I did not skip a single match on that card.
God,
for Hell in a Cell.
I feel sorry for you.
I watched the whole thing. Becky Sasha. If you're gonna watch anything, watch that.
Yeah,
God, was that a great? I hate to say it this way. It was a great women's Hell in a Cell match. And I know there's only been one other one, I think, right? Maybe two.
They've done a couple of them, I think.
Maybe two. Point. I don't think there's more than two.
Yeah.
But it was different. They found ways to do different things.
I heard there was a lot of unique chairs, like the way maybe Becky
like chairs inside the cell, and even the way it started with Becky taking the chain.
I don't know what happened.
They didn't even get to lock the door. Becky stole the chain from the guy going to lock the door, and then Becky locked it herself after she beat the hell out of Sasha with it. It felt different. It felt different. And I think that's what they tried to do with the main event. And to have a no contest because you used a fucking sledgehammer.
Here's my thing.
When other guys in Hell in a Cell matches have used sledgehammers without anything, doesn't make any sense.
Here's my thing. Here's my issue with the DQ. So second year in a row, main event of Hell in a Cell got called off by DQ. Last year, it was Reigns Strowman. Lesnar interfered, and they called off the match. They shouldn't have called off the match, but that makes more sense because Brock Lesnar destroyed both of the opponents and they weren't able to get up or do anything. That match wasn't continuing. So there's a little bit more to it making sense from that standpoint that, okay, the match is called off. All right, I don't want to see a DQ finish in a Hell in a Cell, but at that time it made sense because it was a third party. Both of the main participants are that. Because Seth Rollins used a sledgehammer, they called off the match. It was so dumb. I was just and it ruined the whole thing they built up with this Fiend.
And the only thing that would have made sense, but I didn't want the Fiend to win the title. Didn't want him to. I love the character. He doesn't need it. I didn't want him to. What I wanted to happen was I wanted what happened at the end after they called the match off to happen and cause the no contest.
What happened at the end?
So afterwards, so I explained this for those of you who may not have seen it and honestly probably shouldn't watch it. The match was purely Bray Wyatt no-selling a lot of Seth's moves. So they go through the thing, Seth hits him with canes, and Bray Wyatt barely budges. You know, he hits him with his finisher, Bray Wyatt jumps right back up. Bray Wyatt pulls out his hammer that he killed Rambling Rabbit with before, and instead of hitting him with it, pushes him up against the fence, and that eventually that's what kind of takes over the match a little bit. For
unrelated, next week, Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin for the title. I am very excited for that.
I'm excited for that. I was hoping for that. No offense to Jimmy Havoc, but I was hoping for that.
Oh, listen, we can honestly, I don't want to talk about Hell in a Cell anymore. It was so terrible. Plus, I want to.
Okay, well, let me explain what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
So, so that happens. Seth hits a curb stomp on the his little funhouse hammer thing that he has. Yeah. He hits a curb stomp on him. He finally takes over the match. So he's going to the ring, curb stomp, does a couple curb stomps, pins him, kicks out at 1. So now Seth's annoyed. He's coming in, hitting him with chairs, curb stomp on the chair, this, that, and the other thing. Pins him, kicks out at 1. So now Wyatt's barely getting up, but he's just kicking you out at 1 every time. So now comes back in, uses a ladder and a chair. Curb stomp, on the ladder and chair, does all this stuff. Kicks out at 2. So now Seth's pissed. He's walking around the ring, mad, like, what do I gotta do? He's he's going insane. I can't finish this guy. So he goes and grabs the sledgehammer. Well, at first he grabs the toolbox, I think, before that. That's what it led to do. And he starts hitting the ladder and stuff with the toolbox. Then he's just looking, doesn't attempt a pin, and goes and grabs a sledgehammer. Comes out the sledgehammer. Now the ref's had enough. Wyatt, who's kicked out of every pinfall to this point, is apparently too beat up. He can kick out of pinfalls, but it's just too much. This guy is healthy enough to kick out of pinfalls, but it's too much. And the ref just can't see Seth Rollins go down that path. And they hear him say it. Oh, this isn't you. Don't go down that path.
Yeah.
This ref is Seth Rollins' conscience that we're hearing out loud. Don't do it, Seth. You can't go back from here, Seth. You're going to kill him, Seth. Don't do it. You're better than this. You know who you are. This isn't you. And you're hearing this ref say this. Who the fuck is this guy to be telling Seth that in a no DQ Hell in a Cell match you're supposed to fucking destroy your opponent? Don't destroy your opponent. This isn't you. Okay. So he finally does it. Hits him with the sledgehammer. He hits the ladder that has chairs in between it with the sledgehammer. And that's enough. The ref doesn't even check on Bray Wyatt. It's done. We're over. Match is done. Can't have this. Bray Wyatt's laying there motionless. I don't even know that he even checks on Bray Wyatt again. Just calls a gurney out. Gets stuff off. Calls a gurney. They go to strap him. Seth Rollins keeps stopping him from strapping him up. Seth Rollins just talking shit now. So now not only hit him with a sledgehammer, now he's talking shit. That's full-blown heel turn him, I guess. So he's sitting there pulling them, talking shit, screaming at him while the fans are chanting AEW and we want refunds and bullshit and all this stuff. As he's doing this, Bray Wyatt's hand comes up and gives him a mandible claw. And gets up. Gives him a mandible claw, goes out, gives him Sister Abigail to the outside. Then he pulls the padding off, gives him Sister Abigail again. Then he gives him mandible claw again. Seth Rollins spits out blood like he just ripped his heart out of his chest. It was the most blood I've seen since Dustin Rhodes at Double or Nothing. Like it was, dude. You couldn't see it because it was like a lot of flicker and lights and everything. But like it looked like he spit out way too much blood. Like they just overdid it a little bit. But I know they need to show it. And that's how it ended. Bray Wyatt
Bray Wyatt
never got checked. He never even got checked. If the ref went over and like tried to lift his arm and his arm fell down, and then he said no, like nope, we're done. All right, fine. I get it. I'm still pissed about it, but I get it. But why couldn't you have Bray Wyatt make Rollins bleed from the mouth, and the ref just say pin him, and then Bray just leave?
Yeah,
just leave.
It really ruined.
That's a no contest. That you put Rollins over as snapping because he hit him with a sledgehammer. Bray Wyatt kicks out at 2 still, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Seth Rollins even got to the point of hitting him with a sledgehammer. He still kicked out. And then have Wyatt just leave and be like, I don't want the title. I just destroyed him. I'm done. And leave. You get the same effect without the boos.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, that was badass. We understand he don't need the title. They put him over. They had Rollins snap and use a sledgehammer on a guy's head. It still keeps Wyatt up because, oh my God, he's still kicked out. What the hell has he got to do to him? Like, I would have loved to see, like, Rollins come in with, like, fire or something like that at that point after the sledgehammer and then get caught with the mandible claw. You know what I mean? Like, get caught with the mandible claw after that and then just have Bray Wyatt leave. Don't pin him. Don't nothing. You know?
That's where
just have something like that happen. It just was not... It didn't make sense.
It was very WWE.
In a match. Yeah, and the worst part is Hell in a Cell was supposed to be the end of a rivalry and get to the point where you're hashing out months and months and weeks of frustration, right? Yes. That's what Hell in a Cell is supposed to be. This feud just started. That was the biggest problem with it. You had a finished feud match at the beginning of a feud.
Yes.
And couldn't book your way out of it. Had they been feuding for months and this was the end result, I don't think that ending, even the way it was, gets booed. That Seth Rollins has snapped over months and months of not being able to cleanly beat Bray Wyatt. Yeah. And now he's finally snapped. He snapped because Bray Wyatt's come after him for a couple weeks. Like, that had long-term booking finish for a 3-week lead-up. Like, it was just confusing all over. It just was. So, I had to watch it because everybody complained about it, but I wish I didn't. I wish I just watched Sasha and Becky and then stopped watching.
You know what the best thing is? Britt Baker's a legitimate dentist.
Yeah.
Like, it just amazes me. Like, that's basically her primary job.
So there's my Hell in a Cell rant. You got my New Japan rant and my Hell in a Cell rant. But all in all, Dynamite worth going to. For those of you that get a chance to go, I know I said it kind of in jest, but if anybody's willing to drive 2 hours with me to Baltimore, I might want to go to Full Gear too.
I'm interested in that. That's a possibility. It's going to be more of a game time, like on that Saturday or whatever day.
Yeah. The ticket, there's still tickets there. They're relatively priced, kind of the same that we got for Leocoris. Yeah, and it's an hour less drive for me. So for a pay-per-view, I'm kind of the same mindset. If you're down, I would definitely go, just me and you. If nobody else wants to go, yeah, definitely down for it. Yeah, as much as I'd hate to go to another show, I feel like I don't know when the next pay-per-view is going to. They might move out of the Northeast for a little while. And might not get to see them again.
Well, the one thing it sounds like too is they may be keeping their pay-per-view static. So Double or Nothing is always going to be in Vegas. All Out is always going to be in Chicago. So they're only doing 4 to 5 pay-per-views a year, which I respect because I'm not pay. I could possibly pay $50 every couple months, but not every month. So I like that. But if they're doing that, then Philly might not get a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think they might have 2 that are fluid. I'm thinking they might have 2, like maybe one Northeast one, and then one I'm thinking they might have something like that, where you might have one, like the Full Gear might always be a Northeast pay-per-view. Maybe. Where it might not be Baltimore every time. You might get it around the area every time. At least that's my hope. I mean, we won't know until it happens. Yep. But I'm fine with going to the Liacouras Center a couple times a year to go see them.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So,
all right, let's wrap this up because I want to go to bed. We've been at this for an hour and 50 minutes. So for those that have been upset we didn't get an episode, haven't put out an episode for a while, here you go. Listen to this.
Oh, and by the way, very quickly, real quick. Is this out in the open? My mess of a room? It is not. So I bought 3 things. I have a Team Tremendous shirt, which I try to buy these shirts before the last AEW show, and they didn't get here in time, which is what I was going to wear at the Liacouras Center until I also got a Gritty Club shirt.
Oh, you bought the Gritty Club shirt? The Gritty Club shirt looks so cool.
Yeah, so I will be wearing that at the Liacouras Center. And I also bought a pin, and it says Soak the System. And it's the Undisputed Era, but it's with Squirtles. And I had it out in the open somewhere, and I don't know where it is now. I was going to show you real quick, and I did have it out, and I think I put it in a bag. Yes.
Oh, did you get new golf clubs?
No, they're clubs I got like maybe a year or 2 ago that cost about $2.
Oh, nice.
For the whole thing.
Nice.
Bag, there was pockets full of balls and tees and everything.
Well, listen, if I know you deal with many pockets full of balls, so
yes.
I also love that there's true hate between Brie Presley and Britt Baker, and that they're wrestling each other. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? We'll see everyone in the next 3 to 4 months when we release our next episode.
Yeah, I'm excited for our next episode, but this ran about 40 minutes longer than we would have needed to happen to record a second one. So,
yes.
I'm excited for the next one. It would have made more sense today. Do you want me to ruin what it is?
No.
Because I'm getting too much prep with knowing it, and the longer we wait, it's eating me alive.
No, I like being surprised by it. I like being able to just talk off the top of my head. You can get as much prep as you want. I will.
No, I don't want to prep it. It only makes it fair that I don't really prep for it.
All right, then prep.
Okay. Well, that should be our next episode, I would assume, and I'm very excited for it. It just makes more sense to happen now, and you'll understand why. But it's okay. We'll find time to record it.
Absolutely. So, alrighty. I got nothing else. I'm ready for bed.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Mike, I am glad you had a overall positive experience. I think AEW made up for the terrible...
10 times over.
New Japan one, so I'm legitimately happy to hear that. We're going to have a great time next week at AEW in Philadelphia because I might be... It might be drunk Walton coming out. I might decided to turn up for this one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how blackout I get. So, alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next time. Later, guys. Is this the part of the episode where we say something at the end?